Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Hello and welcome back to Business Today. Viewers, today we will be introducing our property wizard, Mathew, where he will be discussing about how to get onto the property ladder and how to make this into a lucrative business. We'll also be discussing about some legislations that are coming in force into the buy-to-let market. Also today, most importantly, we've also got a special success story for today's show, and that will be Mr. Rois, who is a celebrity chef and is very much involved in the catering industry and also the property business. He's quite big in the property business, and we will go without delaying more. Just before we go onto the guest, I'd like to please say if you do want to call in during the show, please do so, or you can email your questions on businesstoday@ntveurope.net. That's businesstoday@ntveurope.net. So please do send your questions in. So without further ado, I'll present to you our success story, Mr. Rois Ali. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you for coming to the show.
Thank you very much for inviting me, Mukid bhai.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you a few questions about your success, because obviously one thing I can say is when you go around, you ask anybody who is Mr. Rois Ali from Coventry, everybody seems to know.
Is it a bad thing or a good thing?
I think it's a very good thing because everyone knows he's a business entrepreneur. So can you please tell us a little background about yourself, how you started and where you started?
Well, I came to Coventry when I was about 4 years old in 1971 and went to local school, grew up, and as you know, every Bangladeshi who has desires working into Indian restaurant. So my brother came, and he came when I was about 12, 13 years old, and he basically went to school for about a year and a half, and then he started work in the restaurant field. And after that, I thought, if my brother started work in restaurant field, this is what I'm going to be following his footsteps. So I'll go into the restaurant business. And I was working as traditionally a lot of Bangladeshi youngsters, they work part-time. So I started working part-time Friday and Saturday, and just really got so excited that, you know, what am I going to do going to further education and university and college, because my desire to go into restaurant business, and let's champion that. And then I start working in restaurant, and over the years.
Okay, you're a celebrity chef, I understand. So how did you get into that? You know, becoming a celebrity chef isn't
well,
quite easy.
I first thought, you know, working in restaurants, you know, it's very important to know the ins and outs of the restaurants. It's not all about working up front of house. It's more to know about back of house as well. And chef is the key thing. And if you have a good restaurant, everybody talks about the chef as well. So I thought of myself, let me learn how to cook, and then I want to be different from other people. I just don't want to be the run of the mill. If I want to do something, I need to show myself that I've done something different. So I become entering into a lot of competitions.
Okay.
And when I entered the competition, grace of Allah and dua from my parents, you know, I was very successful. And in 1995, which gave me a break, where I entered a national competition.
In 1995?
In 1995. Okay. I've won a lot of other awards, but this was like something, it gave me a huge break, because it was a nationally recognized crown to give the best chef, a curry chef award in the UK. And I thought, yeah, this would be quite achievable if I can get to winning this award. So I really worked hard, and there was a few competition to go into that. So there was a local heat, there was a regional heat, and there was a national heat. Okay. So locally I entered the competition and won that local competition. Then I entered a regional one, and when I won the regional one, I felt so confident. And you know, everybody was saying, look, you can do it, you can do it. And in my mind, you know, I made that set goal. I'm not going to take no for an answer. I have to do it, you know. There was no choice, you know. I was very determined. So the competition was held in Bradford, and it was organized by the Charter Institute of Health in Bradford. And there was about, I can't remember exactly how many, there was about 15 or 20 chefs who came from all over the UK. And they all basically on the day they had 1 hour. Within 1 hour they would do one starter and one main course. And every chef would have a helper with them.
Okay.
And my helper said to me, you know, what are you going to cook a dish? And I said, look, my ethnic background, I'm from Bangladesh. And where I'm from is Sylhet. So this is what I'm going to call my dish, a Sylheti chicken jalfrezi.
Okay, the Sylheti
Chicken jalfrezi.
Okay.
And I thought of myself, you know, everybody puts Jaipur, Bombay, Madras, Vindaloo, all these names, you know, I'm going to create something of unique where I'm from. And I said, if this happens to be a winning dish, then I can see people following this recipe and putting onto their menu. So we had 1 hour. There was a lot of people. There was well over about 2,000 people. It was done in a big hall, and there was a chef, a renowned chef, Pat Chapman, who was one of the judges.
Yeah, we've heard
And
him
there
in
was
the show.
other celebrity chefs as well as judging this. And I said, like, I'm going to give my best talent. And over the last 2-3 weeks, I was sort of doing this dish regularly because I had to get it within an hour. The dish has to be within an hour.
Okay.
So it's televised and you've got the clock going, you've got 60 minutes to do the dishes. Sometimes I was doing the dish before the hours and sometimes it took me 2-3 minutes before, and I said, no, I have to hit it. So I rehearsed it at least for about a couple of weeks, got it perfectly right.
You worked on it, yeah.
And I worked on it because in anything in life you have to do your homework. You have to do your groundwork. Nothing comes on the plate. If you think, oh, I'm going to make everything fluke. No, nothing is a fluke. You have to set things up.
There's some advice, viewers,
You know?
we need to
So
listen to
you
this.
have to do groundwork. In my mind, I said, look, if I'm going to be working in a restaurant, I want to own a restaurant and I want to make sure that I can cook. So anytime I have a chef who's not well, I make sure that whatever the food I'm serving to my customer, it has to be consistent. So I need to know how to cook as well. So the competition started, and when it was announced, I mean, I'm cutting long story short, and when it was announced, I had that feeling that I'm there, I'm nearly there. And when the judges says I was the winner, it's just, it was tears in my eyes. It was like the happiness and being crowned the best chef in the country. That sort of happiness money can't buy.
Yeah.
And I've been in property business for many, many years, and that happiness never give me.
Okay.
I mean, you buy a property, you have the keys, you've got that 24-hour happiness, and after that you forget about it. That keys becomes a history, and then you look for another key.
Okay. Going on to the property side of things, I know you just quickly mentioned you've been in the property business. We have our expert today, Mathew. Welcome on the show, Mathew. You will be talking about how to get onto the property ladder, etc. I mean, Mr. Ali, you did say you've got some restaurants. How many restaurants did you have? Is it mainly property business you're in, or the catering?
Mainly catering, catering, because what I did while I was running my restaurants, and a lot of my staff, it was a very, very busy, successful restaurant, and all my staff, I can see that they want to work for me and they're very loyal to me, but they have ambitions. And I said, well, you know, let's work together. Let's fulfill your ambition, and at the same time I get reward as well. So every one of them, they had a desire to open their own restaurants and takeaways and clubs. And I said, well, right, you tell me what you're looking for. I will source the properties, and you take a long lease from me, and I will, certain part I will refurbish it for you, because I know that you're trying to open a new business, so you need some support and help. And this is how I hold hand to my tenants, and they become successful.
Okay, so you actually went into the property business in terms of actually trying to help the colleagues that you were working with, and then that actually put you into the property business.
Because I can see there,
I
can see that there's a need for that, and I can see the restaurant market is growing, and Indian food is at the moment not second to none. I mean, it is #1 dish, Indian food, and I thought this is a growing market, and people are looking for good locations. So what I would do, I would say, right, okay, now I know Coventry very well, I know Birmingham very well, where is the niche market? So I would go there, even after work, I'll drive around on my own and see nice quiet road, I can see what is available. And sometimes what you tend to do is you make friendship with estate agents. And it is important, if you want to go into property land, you should have, you know, estate agent of your backing.
Okay.
Sometimes property will come on the market and it's not even marketed, and they'll ring up if you have a good relationship with the estate agent and say, Mr. Ali, we've got something, is that something it interests you? If not, then tell us. And something, 9 out of 10 I will say yes, because it's in a good location. They know what I'm looking for, they know the criteria I'm looking for, and that's the way to go forward in the property ladder.
That's quite inspirational actually, how you actually got involved with the property industry. It's through helping colleagues, and that's a good way of stepping in. About your success, I mean, how did you start off? Was it the first property, or you went in and you bought a few properties, or were you financially able to go in and get a few properties, or was it a bit of struggle to start with?
It's always a struggle. Anything new, it was a plain canvas for us. It was hard. It's not just me on my own, it's me and my brother. There's 2 of us. And my brother and me, we are sort of a good partnership. You know, basically, certain time he will say, right, okay, my gut feeling says you shouldn't go, and I will say my gut feeling saying we should go. So we will have a bit of a tiff, and then he will say, right, if you want to make a decision, let's see. But 9 out of 10, I don't know, grace of God, I make it happen. And then he says, right. But then he says, look, yes, you do make it happen. Then the hardship you go through. I said, nothing is easy in life. You have to go through a hardship. So, mashallah, when we started in 87, we started into properties, and since then we didn't look back. And I thought, you know, restaurant gave me certain money, but I think the property gave me more money.
How about freedom in life? Has it?
And it gives freedom, but it is hard work. I mean, I would say to everybody, nothing's easy. You have to be prepared to work hard. You have to be prepared to work extra mileage. You have to be open-handed to other people to support. It's not just, if anybody comes to me and say, look, I'm looking for a property, I want to set up a restaurant. It may be not my property, but I would give them the right guidance, right support, even though it's not my property, and I'll go out of the way to help. And I think by that, I mean, people have supported me in every way, financially, morally and ethically. People have supported me, and that's why I grew. It's not my own success. I think other people's success I have achieved as well from them.
Yeah. Okay, that's interesting. What I'm going to ask you now is, you've mentioned restaurants. Is it just restaurant properties you buy, or is it all types of commercial properties now? How about residential? Are you into the residential market at all?
Initially, we used to buy quite a lot of residential. Then we stopped buying residential.
We've got about 3 minutes to break.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And it didn't give me much eel, and it didn't give me any excitement, because I like to see a product running and making money, and that gives me a satisfaction. So we went to commercial. So we've gone to nightclubs, restaurants, bars, a few apartments, and that sort of thing. Yeah.
Okay. Apartments as well. So
yeah.
Okay.
And we've gone into. I mean, it's not just catering. We rent our property to William Hill, you know, bookmakers, and fish and chip shop. You name it across the board. It's not just Indian restaurant, Chinese, Italian. We've got a tenant, Iranian restaurant.
Do you manage your properties yourself, or?
We have mixture. We both manage, me and my brother, we both manage, and we have state agents as well at the same time to give us a support. Certain tenants want to see us face to face. We know them for many years, so we'll deal. Certain tenants will just managed by the estate agents.
And do you ever find that financing properties a obstacle? Or?
Oh yeah, there has been, over the years there's been obstacle. Then it's loan to value, and we've just coming out of a recession. I mean, this is the best time to buy in properties. I mean, it's a buyer's market. I mean, but we have had really tough time. I mean, Mathew will say, you know, there has been tough times. I mean, the property price, £150,000 property you bought, and it's worth £100,000 negative equity, and then you're trying to say, the bank is saying, well, we're going to repossess another property if you don't allow to bring your eel back, you know.
Okay, thank you very much. Actually, viewers, we're going to go to a break now, and we'll come back and we'll speak to Mathew, our property expert. So, see you after the break.